Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Nacho Tuesday. And today I have Vivian here with PowerYou AI. And without further ado, we would love if you could introduce yourself and tell us more about your company.
Definitely, Andy. My name is Vivian. I'm the founder and CEO of PowerYou AI. We are a AI-powered platform that helps individuals build goal-achieving habits. We use personalized gamified workflows to create action plans and coaching experiences that help users to develop productive habits that are aligned with their long-term professional and personal goals. With over 25 categories of goals covering career, relationship, finance, health, spirituality, and hobbies, PowerYou AI provides a very structured yet flexible roadmap to help you take tangible steps towards success and well-being.
Excellent. So, how did you get to this point in your career? Where did everything start, and how did you get the idea to form PowerYou AI?
Yeah, so my journey into this area really starts with a personal fascination for human potential. I did my PhD at Columbia University, where my research was really to understand the science behind how certain people can achieve seemingly impossible feats when given the right resources and tools. Earlier in my career, I was doing my PhD and I was a researcher at Columbia University, where I saw like high quality coaching and education were actually not included in the core curriculums for undergraduate students and graduate students.
Mhm.
Um, at the same time, I was also really captivated by the potential of Gen AI technology and how that could be leveraged to personalize learning experiences at scale. Um, so eventually, I decided to blend my passion for personal development with AI to create a platform that could be accessible and impactful for everyone anywhere.
Very neat. So, I guess what are some key tips for executives and leaders to work on their personal development?
Yeah, so I have three tips. The first one would be cultivating a growth mindset. I think instead of viewing AI as like a threat to humanity, seeing it as a tool that can really augment our ability is very key. So embracing continuous learning and remain very curious about emerging technologies is very important for cultivating this growth mindset. Second is what I like to call leveraging data-driven insights. What this means is that I think in our modern time, leadership requires not just intuition, but also analytical thinking.
Mhm.
So there are a lot of very amazing AI-powered analytical tools out there. So use these tools to inform your decision making, refine your strategies, and stay ahead of the market. It's very important. The third one is to focus on human-centric skills. And what I mean by human-centric skills are skills such as empathy, communication, and emotional intelligence. Because in the age of AI, these skills become even more valuable in an AI-driven world. So I would say that investing in these skills and for training yourself, your team is very important.
Excellent. How can people work on their EQ? Do you recommend that they go out and just spend more time socializing, or do you have any other tips for them to do that?
Use Power UAI.
There you go. Why you developed
Actually,
it,
Actually, I think EQ, that's a really fantastic question because, EQ is one of those things you don't really learn in school, right? Like there's not really necessarily like a class that teaches people how to be emotionally intelligent. And I think it's a blend of having emotional awareness, social awareness, and, just self-awareness, like, to be able to understand, first of all, what's going on with yourself emotionally and cultivate that self-awareness and extend from there, understanding other people's their context and their emotions, and being able to kind of cultivate empathy to understand what it feels like and what it looks like to be in other people's shoes. We can talk endlessly about these like theoretical stuff, but I really think to cultivate emotional intelligence, the first step would be like to try to make friends with people and to try to understand their stories and try to share your own authentic stories and build that genuine connection. And the more you do it, you'll realize that, like as individuals, we have more in common with others than we think. And that's a really good starting point for cultivating emotional intelligence.
Yeah, and a really good book to read probably for anybody listening is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That's kind of a good introductory one. How does Power You AI help with developing EQ?
Yeah, so we think developing these skills requires cultivating habits. So for developing EQ, what we usually the type of goals that would be associated with this would be like, hey, how do I, cultivate empathy? How do we relate? How do I relate to other people better? What we do is that we take these like bigger kind of like long-term goals and translate that into weekly tangible achievable goals, such as, hey, can I go out this week and meet 7 strangers that I've never spoken with and build a genuine connection? All of a sudden, like it gets a lot easier when it becomes something that's doable, achievable, quantifiable,
Mhm.
and anybody can go out and meet 7 new friends in a week. So we start from there, and then we create a gamified workflow to help people understand, to help like coming up with a very personalized and gamified plan for help people achieve this goal. So that might involve, hey, like understanding users like personalities, interests. Let's say somebody is very like enjoying kind of social drinking. So that might mean that this plans involves during this week's time, you would, go out maybe during 2 nights and go to a local bar and just speak with, 2, 3 strangers every time you go. And then you will be able to speak with 6 people within the time, the week time frame. And not only that, we also provide accountability tools. For example, if you want to, you're like, hey, I like to do this, but I get lazy or I fall into my old habit of not connecting with people. Then you can add your friend or somebody who you think is very good at this as your accountability partner in
Mhm.
our tool, and then that person can kind of like help keep you accountable. And our AI companion, Chris, would also be your accountability partner and your private like strategist to help you kind of, strategize about how would you kind of be able to, go out and meet people and learn about their story and share your story authentically. And at the end of this goal setting experience for a week, we would also prompt you to write a journal entry. We think that a big part of learning is about reflection. So journaling is a really good habit to help people to understand what they've learned, patterns they've noticed, and that it allows for them to do like iterative learning, iterative change. So yeah, that's I would say Power UI really creates like an end-to-end experience to help people to achieve their goal, translating them into actionable, tangible, fun, gamified experience that they can accomplish within 1 week and have all the resources and accountability and support they need, either digitally through AI or through connecting with their friends and associates.
Very neat. Yeah, tell us more about Chris. How did you come up with the name for it, and what does Chris do specifically?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't think I've shared this with a lot of people, but the name Chris was actually inspired by my first life coach. So uh, Andy, you know the story. I probably shared this with you. When I was going through my PhD training, I was 29 at the time. I was all of a sudden diagnosed with breast cancer, and that was a very scary and very difficult situation to navigate. And that was the first time I felt like, hey, maybe I need to work with somebody to understand what's going on and to just dig myself out of the hole of depression, really. So I started working with my first life coach. Her name's Christine Lee. She's actually based in New York. So yeah, like that was just, it set me off on a really wonderful journey. And I became much more resilient and much more positive and confident by working with her and also kind of like working on my personal development. So that journey actually really inspired me to build PowerYou AI, and that's what, why I named our AI companion, Chris.
And that's a very powerful story there. Pun intended. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's usually the best entrepreneurs always have a good motivation and reason, belief behind making their company. It's more than just creating the latest new technology or just doing it for money. So it sounds like you have a real passion for what you do.
Definitely. And just so that don't worry about me, I'm completely fine now. This was
Woo.
like 9 years ago. So like completely fine right now. And very miraculously, I survived cancer. So I'm a proud cancer survivor and I'm fine. Yeah.
That's amazing. So how would you recommend other professionals stay up to date in such a fast-paced business environment? It's almost like they have to adopt AI to be able to even keep up with AI and all the other tools going on, happening right now.
Yeah. So can you repeat the question again?
Yeah.
Mm.
In today's fast-paced business environment, how do professionals keep up with their development? I mean, with all the new AI tools out there right now, it's easier than ever to absorb information and be able to learn it at an accelerated pace, or
Right.
even cheat and have ChatGPT do it for you.
Right. I would say that, there are so many new AI powered tools coming out every single day. There are a lot of entrepreneurs building toolings, leveraging AI to help people to kind of like create better, write better, think better. So I would say that just stay very curious and open-minded about all these new tools that's coming up. And instead of being intimidated by it, just be very open and curious and, try it out and see how it can be integrated into your workflow. So for PowerYou AI, we are focused on helping people achieving personal and professional goals. And there are other tools. I mean, ChatGPT for one is like a very versatile, I would say, tool that can help with brainstorming, general kind of like problem solving. And then there are, Anthropic AI. I know that is a little better with emotional intelligence required type of conversations. So, that's a really good option to explore. And there are a lot of image generating AI tools out there. Like if you're like in the content creation space, you can, use, for example, you can use Stability AI. OpenAI also has Sora, which generates like videos from text. So all these can be leveraged to create content really fast.
Mhm.
I also know TrueWind, which is AI powered accounting. So a lot of, like you can leverage their tooling to kind of make accounting a lot easier, a lot more intelligently. So yeah, just to summarize, I think be open to new AI tools that's coming out every week, every day, and be curious enough to try it out and see how it can be integrated into your own personal and professional workflow.
Yep. So we talked a lot about how underrated EQ is and how everybody needs to use AI to kind of keep up to date with the fast-paced business environment. What other skill sets should professionals look to develop today to stay competitive out there?
Yeah, so I think that there are a lot of interesting shifts that has happened with the advent of the age of AI. A lot of previously difficult tasks, such as problem solving, analytics, even creative writing, can now be done by AI or a agentic agent. So I think that gives us humans a opportunity to focus on things that that truly matter. And what I mean by that is decision making,
Yep.
goal setting, and things like that. Because now, like unlike before, the speed by which an idea becomes a reality or idea can be translated into a product
Mhm.
is so much more accelerated because of all these abundance of AI tools out there. So I think what becomes more important than before are actually decision making and goal setting skills. And actually, that's exactly why we are at PowerYou AI. We're focused on goal setting
Yep.
because that become probably one of the few areas that human beings really need to focus on.
Yep. And maybe some tips around goal setting, like how do you do it properly?
Yeah, so there are a lot of studies.
It's January and a lot of people are doing the back to gym thing, right? And they're done probably by the end of January. Um,
Yeah.
so keeping consistent with your goals and having proper planning and then adhering to those goals is critical for long-term success. So I guess, yeah, I need tips for anybody listening in terms of maybe not going to the gym, which I would definitely recommend the gym because health is wealth, but also for your professional development as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the beginning of 2025, so I'm sure that a lot of people are, setting their New Year resolutions. Statistically speaking, very surprisingly, 90% of Americans claim that they abandoned their New Year resolution after 2 months. So
Wow.
right around like February timeframe, everybody just like the New Year resolution just out of the window. And I
Wow.
think and that's very very surprising, very surprising. And I think some of the things people can do to not fall into that trap, I'll talk about 5 points. The first one is to be very specific and very measurable when you are setting your goal. Vague goals lead to vague results. So I'm pretty sure a lot of us have heard about the SMART goal framework,
Yep.
and that requires people to establish very tangible goals with clear deadlines, clear kind of like milestones, and a clear kind of like definition of success. So I think being very specific and measurable when you set up your goal is very important. So example would be like, instead of saying that, hey, I want to be healthier, maybe it will be like, I want to eat at least 3 healthy meals this
Mhm.
week. Does that make sense? So that's number one. Second, I would say breaking down goals into smaller, tangible actions that you can take immediately. So
Mhm.
large goals can oftentimes make people feel very overwhelming. For example, people
Like
may
building a
say,
startup.
"Go
Oh,
ahead."
like building a startup.
Exactly. Building startup, or achieving financial freedom, or like
Yeah,
have the best relationship ever, right?
it
These
doesn't
are
happen
very
overnight.
common goals, like very universal goals people have. But how do you break that down into tangible small steps that you can make progress towards every day? So I think that requires a lot of planning. And Power UI certainly, like we exactly, design our product around helping people to plan for their goals. So we actually help quite a bit. Like when you put in a relatively vague goal, we can help you immediately translate that into tangible, actionable, achievable steps that you can do every day.
Yep.
The third point is, I think goals need to be aligned with individual purpose. I think a lot of people don't really stick through with their goals because deep down they know that goal that they set out for themselves are not aligned really with their deepest, most personal purpose. There's no emotional investment
Mhm.
to it. It's just like a vague thing, or like maybe they heard somebody else like they wanted something that other people want. So I
Mhm.
would encourage people to do a lot of kind of reflection on what are your purpose in life as an individual, or if you're working for organization, what is the purpose of the organization, and understanding that why would help you to set goals that are more likely you're going to commit to. And Power UI also, like our product also help people with this kind of like reflective kind of like exercise. The fourth point is I think I encourage people to adopt accountability tools. So there are tools such as like AI, right? You can there are tools such as Power UI. You can have our AI companion keep you accountable. It will send you notifications, nudges, little inspirational quotes to keep you on track. You could also, like some people prefer maybe inviting an accountability partner who is a real person in their life, somebody they trust, their family member, their friends. So making the goal achieving process more social would help people to stay accountable. So that's my fourth point. And the fifth one and the last one is to review and adjust And I think a lot of times people set a goal and they start working on it and they hit some obstacles, they just get discouraged and they're like, oh, I'm not going to achieve it. So they just abandon it. Instead of thinking that way, think about your plans as an iterative process. So as you start implementing and executing on your plan, you'll realize some things are working and some things are not working. Have the discipline and the courage to review and adjust your original plan would go a long way.
Yeah, like building a company, it's your first customer might be a thing to celebrate, for instance, maybe, or like shipping your MVP, then your first customer, then there's some other metric at some point too. But it's not like an overnight success type of thing that a lot of people that are first time entrepreneurs might think it is. So that's one real world example there. I guess, what kind of lessons did you learn, building your startup step by step?
Yeah, that's a great question. Andy, I don't know if you have read this book by Simon Sinek called The Infinite Game.
I was going to mention his Start With Why book for the
Yeah.
other part of your conversation about having motivation by starting with the why. So yeah, he's a favorite influencer of mine. So
yeah. So yeah, Starting With Why is one of my favorite book as well. There's another book he wrote, I think in 2019, called The Infinite Game. And in that book, he made a distinction between there are two types of games in this world. There are the finite games. So these are like sports, chess. So there's a clearly defined kind of like trajectories to winning and losing. And there's a clear end date to these type of games. And there's another type of game that are infinite, that requires constant iteration and evolution. And I think to answer your question, I think as an entrepreneur, I think one of the things I really learned is that I think a lot of people fall into, even myself included in early days, fall into the mindset of thinking about entrepreneurial journey as a finite game. Yep. So you hear people talking about, winning and losing, being able to make it or not making it. As I kind of continued on my own personal journey, I really think that entrepreneurship and business and personal growth, these are classic categories of infinite game, which means that it would require continuous course correction, pivot, and overcoming obstacles. There's not really an end to like building a successful business, building a resilient business. So I think that's probably one of the most important things that I've learned in my journey.
Yeah, that's a great point. A lot of entrepreneurs don't know how to handle failure as well, which is also part of that journey. And I really look at entrepreneurship as like a career, even if you do other things along the way. But it might not be your first company that's successful. Maybe it's your second one, but you're learning skill sets along the way, learning how to do things, how not to do things, to set you up for, prime you for success the next time around. So yeah, it's definitely not a finite game, especially if you're really enthusiastic about it and you have that why really satisfied.
Absolutely agree with that.
So I guess, have you guys had any tough lessons in building your company? Like, have you come across failure, and how did you overcome those critical moments?
I think that I wouldn't call it a failure, but we definitely have had a lot of obstacles as we build up our product. For example, we have had a certain hypothesis about our ICP, and it turned out, our ICP actually is very different from what we originally hypothesized.
That happens
And
to a lot
to
of people.
figure, I'm pretty sure a lot of entrepreneurs, yourself included, probably have had similar experience. But it's an iterative learning experience. I think not seeing obstacles and setbacks as failure is actually very important. Failure, the word itself, just sounds so finite, doesn't it? It's just like, I failed, or like, this is a failure. It just seemed there's a kind of like almost like an emotional weight to it. Yep. And it sounds so finite. I actually tried purposefully to kind of reprogram that out of my language and my mind. So
I think you just replace failure with learning. You know what I mean? As opposed to like it's the end, like failure is over. It's just learning. It's just a step in the journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's really well said.
Yeah, people take it too personally too, and the moment you stop taking it personally and you look at it as like an objective learning experience,
The
um,
infinite game,
yeah,
right?
you don't really, you don't take it too personally at that point, and then failure really becomes nothing at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, sorry, continue your story.
Yeah, so I think that would be probably something that I feel like is something that we had to learn and overcome. And yeah, just like generally speaking, kind of having a good mindset and seeing obstacles as opportunities for learning, and just stay resilient, stay true to your original why, has helped us quite a lot as we navigate this process. It's definitely not, people think about, I think people hear stories about successful entrepreneurs and it seemed like such a glorious and like, interesting, exciting journey. But the day to day of being an entrepreneur is a lot of grinding,
Yep.
right? A lot of kind of like having to face hard truths,
Hmm.
and have to kind of pivot and have to make hard decisions, have to kind of just throw out of the window your original hypothesis and
Yep.
have the discipline and courage to go out again and do it again. And I think, at some point, I feel like, I've gradually kind of learned to kind of make myself really enjoying this process.
Yep.
And I think it has helped me a lot as an entrepreneur is to kind of building this as my almost like a something that I am excited for. Like if there's a problem, I'm like, hey, this is so exciting because we're gonna learn a lot. If
Yep.
something doesn't work, hey, this is not bad because we figured out there's a problem there and we're gonna figure out the solution.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely problem solving. It's like a puzzle. That's if you look at it that way, it's kind of like a game, the game of life, if you will, that you're trying to solve.
I love
Um,
that.
so I guess like anything that people should know about PowerU, and why they should grab it today. Like who is your ICP? Just speak it out there to the world, so they can come check out your product and learn more about it.
Yeah, definitely. So we have two types of ICPs. For individuals, we focus on servicing entrepreneurs, thinkers, and creators. I think people who are in these professions oftentimes find themselves struggling with making the right decision and setting impactful goals and being able to actually execute on their goals step by step. And we want to be able to create a powerful platform, a tool that helps people in these particular roles to achieve to unlock their potential and achieve their goals. And going forward in the next few months, there are some really exciting new features that we're launching, and I'd like to share that with all of you. One is that we're enhancing our personalization mechanism, so we're integrating more advanced machine learning techniques so that our platform can better anticipate the needs and wants and challenges of our users. We are also expanding our content ecosystem. We're partnering with thought leaders, coaches, authors in different fields, to help bring our tool to broader audience, and that covers leadership, wellness, career transitions, and much more. We're also building a global community. So one of our goals is also to develop a thriving communities of PowerYou community members around the world who can offer accountability support, peer support to other people who are trying to achieve similar goals.
Very cool.
Last but not the least, another ICP that we are serving in the next year or two are actually enterprise businesses customers. So we plan to work very closely with these enterprise and business customers to help them to seamlessly blend PowerYou AI tooling into their existing HR and learning platforms, making it a very natural part of their existing daily workflow and help their team to remain at the forefront of productivity and bring their best selves to work every day.
Well, Vivian, we I love the vision, love the why as well, why you do what you do. Where can people learn more about PowerU, and how can they pick it up today?
Yeah, so good news is that we're in production, and you can visit www .poweryou.ai, and you will be able to download our product right there. We are right now only available on Apple iOS platform, and we're planning on launching on Android very soon.
Very exciting. You could also grab it today in the NachoNacho B2B SaaS marketplace. Proud partners over here. So definitely looking forward to continuing to work with you and see your company grow. It's really exciting what you're working on, and honestly, very, very important, I think. A lot of people have the latest new email marketing tool, but I think this is like really actually powerful for people in more ways than one. So thanks for the great work that you're doing, and we look forward to continuing to work with you, Vivian.
Thank you, Andy. I'm so excited to continue working with NachoNacho as well. Thank you for your help and support.
You too.